Now imagine you want to understand how people in India are spending their money. That's exactly what the Household Consumption Expenditure Survey does. Now this survey, conducted by the National Sample Survey Office or the NSSO and released by the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, also known as MOSPI, asks households all over the country what they are buying and how much they are spending. Now this helps us understand the consumption and expenditure pattern standard of living and well-being of the households. Now the information from this survey is even used to set official price indices which help track inflation and ensure everyone has fair access to the things that they need. Now to reach as many people as possible, the survey covers almost the entire country from cities to small villages. Now it covered families in over 8,720 villages and 6,110 urban blocks, which adds up to over 2,61,700 households collectively. Now in FY23, the average spending per person in rural India was around rupees 3,773 per month, while in urban area it was 6,459 rupees. Now there's also a big difference between the richest and the poorest people in both areas. The poorest 5% of people in rural areas spend an average of rupees 1,373 per month, while the richest 5% spend around 10,501 rupees. Now in urban areas, the poorest 5% spend 2,001 per month, while the richest 5% spend rupees 20,824. While the difference between rural and urban MPCE, which is the monthly per capita consumption expenditure, has narrowed substantially over the years, the gap between the richest and the poorest is actually widening, which means there's more inequality amongst people with higher incomes. Now, among the states, the survey found that people in Sikkim spend the most, both in rural areas around 7,731 rupees per month and in cities around 12,105 rupees. Now, on the other hand, people in Chhattisgarh spend the least with an average of rupees 2,466 rupees per month in rural areas and 4,480 rupees in the city. Now, the gap between urban and rural MPCE is also declining. In 2004-05, people in the urban area spent over 90% more than the people in rural area. In FY 2012, that gap shrank to 84%. And in the most recent survey done in FY 23, the difference was down to just 71%. Now, as per the recent survey, Indians are spending less of their money on food specifically, which is a sign of improving standard of living. Back in 2011, rural families spent nearly 53% of their budget on groceries like grains, vegetables, and milk. But by 2022, that number dropped to 46.4%. Even in cities, the trend is the same, with food spending down from 42.6% to 39.2%. Now, as families earn more, they can afford to spend more overall, even if the percentage they spend on food goes down. Economists call this the Engels law, and it basically says that a smaller food budget often reflects a better standard of living. Now, the data from this survey will also help the government to update the CPI and make it more accurate. Now, the new CPI series might have lower weightages for food and beverage, higher for core goods and services. Overall, the survey paints a positive picture of India's economic progress, especially for the rural areas. However, the survey also highlights the persisting gap between the richest and the poorest, which requires further attention. With that, this is Raj Mehta signing off, wishing you and your loved ones the very best. Thank you.
Did you like watching this video? Then download our app, Informed Investor, to watch more such informative and interesting videos.
Equity investments are subject to market risk. Read all investment-related documents carefully. Visit www.researchandranking.com.